Hello and welcome. My name is Lynn, and today I'm playing along with Kendra's Card Challenge number 8. I had so much fun with number 7 using the Santa Lane kit that I thought I would play along, but this time using Winter Wonderland. This is sort of an a la carte collection where you can get the 6x6 papers. There are different ephemera packs you could get, and there's also different stickers that you can get as well. This is going to be a lengthy video, so what I'm going to do is I'll timestamp the videos so that you can hover over the timeline and skip straight to the portion that you are most interested in watching if you don't have time to watch the whole thing. And what the topics I'll be covering are how I pick my pattern papers, which is what I'm in the process of doing here, how I approach cutting according to the cutting guide. The assembly of the cards will be probably the longest portion of this video, and then at the very end I'll show you all 17 cards that I made. So when I go about picking my 6 pattern papers, I actually like to look at the card sketches, and that's what you see in front of me. And I like to look at each one and see which pattern papers get combined, because I want to make sure that even though this is all coming from the same paper pack, that the papers help each other shine, and that's to say that they have enough contrast. So you can kind of see on the bottom there's one pattern, this one with the car, and then there was the leafy one, floral one that you see that's still on screen here. They're very similar to each other, both in color, in density of the pattern. And so for those two to be on the same card design, it just may look too similar to where your eye doesn't really focus on any one thing, and it all just fades or merges together. So what I'm looking for is some contrast. If I'm picking a floral, maybe combining it with a geometric. If there's a pattern paper that's a little bit more solid, like that blue one with the gold foiled stars, maybe I'll pick one that's a little bit more sparse to go with it, like the polka dot one, where the pattern is has a lot of more white space. If something has a large printed design, maybe I'll combine that with something that has a more smaller print design, combining light colors with darker colors. So any kind of contrast works, and that way each paper can shine even if it's on the same card sketch. So one of the great things about Kendra's Card Challenge is that she gives us really fantastic cutting guides for how to cut the 6x6 papers efficiently, like super efficiently, to where you have little to no waste. And always look for the scissor icon, because that tells you where to start your cutting. That's going to be your first cut. And I did make a mistake cutting this one, but the reality is that with any card sketch challenge, you can always just make it your own. Use this as a starting off point, but then you can always substitute other things in. One thing to note on the card sketch, well, there's 2 things to note. One, if you look at the card sketch, each little segment has an arrow. That arrow, what that's indicating is what direction that paper will be used for the card sketch that it's going to get applied to. So you can see on paper A here, some arrows point up and one arrow points to the left. Paper B here, all of the arrows point up. So B is a great one if you have directional paper, because everything is going to be used in the same direction and you don't have to worry about how it's going to ultimately look on the final card. Now, a couple of notes on that, and going in line with a comment that I made earlier about making card sketches your own. You might have noticed that the pattern paper I chose for paper A was directional, even though there is one segment that I would have to rotate 90 degrees for on the card for the way that it's being applied to the card sketch that it'll be used on. But I really wanted pattern A because of the different patterns that it would be combined with on the various card sketches. So I already made the determination that I'll just sacrifice that one segment that is rotated, and when I get to that card, I'll just substitute something else. So don't feel like you have to be super locked into the orientation of things. You can bend the rules a little bit and just make it work to the design that you are that you want to create. And for me, I felt like it was more important to pick a paper that worked really well in all of the places paper A is used. And for the one spot where I had to make that sacrifice, it's a pretty thin strip, which could easily be substituted with maybe some ribbon. So you'll probably see that in a little bit when I start to assemble the cards. So for the diagonal cuts, and you'll see this twice, so I'll explain it twice. So I like to cut down all of the other segments first until I get to this panel that has the diagonal cuts. And the second thing to note with the cutting guide is all of the measurements are measurements of that length. The length of that section. So I've just given myself pencil marks so that I know where each of those segments begins and ends. And then when I go to cut, I'm lining up that bottom leftmost corner on one end of my cutting track or cutting blade. And then I'm lining up the pencil mark on the other end of my cutting track. And you can do this in a paper trimmer as well. My guillotine gives me really nice, sharp cuts. And so that's why I prefer to use it for the Kendra's Card Challenge. And especially for this, where you're cutting down into that one point. So there I've already placed my pencil marks, and you can see I'm always lining up the same bottom corner on the bottom, and then my pencil mark at the top. And that's really, all there is to it. And there's cover dies you can buy that give you that sort of sunburst or starburst pattern or effect. But it's kind of cool now to see this. And then now it becomes a tool, in my toolbox that if I want to cut down to replicate that pattern, I sort of get the gist of how to do it now. It's just to make, little tick marks at, where the segments are furthest away from that starting point, and then just, cut connecting those two lines, that one bottom point and then your pencil marks along the edges. So this was a lot easier than I expected it would be. And so super glad that I have tried this, and I have Delise to thank for that, because she assured me that the diagonal cuts were easy, and also gave me the tip to pay attention that the cutting guide is showing the length of the segment. So you always want to be measuring that distance from the previous cut line. So now we're starting into the assembly, and I have also pulled out the one of the new 3D holiday embossing folders, and this one's gorgeous. It's a really, really beautiful snowflake pattern, and it's I wish I kept my panels because I actually embossed one of these using the universal plate system that Spellbinder's released, and I also embossed it same paper and everything through my standard platform, and I had to add a couple of cardstock shims to get it to run through and emboss, and the difference is really night and day. The universal plate system is really great because it tells you exactly which plates you need for the various different types of embossing folders or dies that you're using. I pretty much only use it for embossing because it gives me phenomenal results every time. You can use your 3D embossing folders on your regular platform combination. It's just that you might need to add a cardstock shimmer to get the right amount of pressure to get the details in that pattern. And if you're not familiar with the difference between 3D embossing folders and regular embossing folders, the difference is that on a regular standard embossing folder, the pattern that is raised, because that's what the emboss is, it's just, pushing the paper so that it's raised in a particular design. So on a standard embossing folder, the pattern is all raised to the same depth or height, however you like to think about it, but it's all one level. So everything is going to be raised to that level. On a 3D embossing folder, like this one, it's and in a moment I'll be using another panel which you might be able to see a little bit more clearly, since more of the emboss panel or design will be visible. But on a 3D, here we go. This is on vellum, which makes it very, very noticeable. With 3D embossing folders, the paper is not all raised to the same level. There are some things that are more prominent and are raised to a higher point so that it looks like it's a little bit closer to you. And then there are some things that are not as prominent, not as lifted or raised off of the paper. And that can have the effect of appearing a little bit further away. So here's that lovely embossing folder. And in this case, if you look at the snowflakes, you can see there's some curvature even to the points or the ends of the snowflake. And that's because it actually is raised to different depths, different dimensions. And you might notice how detailed those snowflakes are, but there's also some snow, kind of like snowballs. They're just round, irregular circles that are also falling down. So kind of like, your snowfall. And those are a little bit more subtle. They aren't raised as much as the snowflakes. So they actually it gives you the illusion that those are a little bit more in the background. And that's why it's called a 3D embossing folder, because it almost has that very three-dimensional effect of some things appearing closer because they're more detailed. They're actually raised and lifted off of the page more. And some things feeling a little bit more in the background and further away. And that illusion is achieved by the paper actually not being raised as much. So really, really fantastic technology, and the Snowflake 3D embossing folder is just fantastic. I can see myself using that year after year easily because it's just gorgeous. It's got so much great detail. So before I set this video to some music, because the card making process is long, I've had to speed this up 8 times just to keep this video under an hour. And I didn't even film my entire process. That first one, the first card that I assembled on camera kind of gave you an idea for how I approach working with ephemera. I like to spread everything out, so my desk is a hot mess. And if you've watched any of my other tutorial videos, this is not how I craft. I do not have a lot of things spread out like this. I am a pretty tidy crafter, and that's not just for camera's sake. That's just me. But this is the exception, is when I'm crafting with amazing kits like the Spellbinders kits that has a lot of ephemera, because I like to see all of the ephemera. I like to see everything in front of me. And that's so much the case that even though I have the gold puffy stickers that you can get in this collection, they were just off to the side and out of eye shot, and I ultimately forgot to use them. They're gorgeous, but it's just when I sit down to really start crafting, I have a little bit of tunnel vision where, if it's not on my desk, I don't immediately think to reach for it or to go find it. So in the ephemera packs, there's actually two. There is one that's more your focal images, though it does have a couple of sentiments. And then the second ephemera pack, which is a separate item available for individual purchase, is the sentiment pack. And you're going to get loads of sentiments in different sizes, shapes, some that are combined with images, and just a really nice mix. Here's another look at that lovely snowflake embossing embossed panel, again onto vellum. I love embossing snow onto vellum because it really has that very frosty snow look. And so this was the perfect sort of way to kind of showcase this embossing folder, because you can emboss anything onto vellum, and basically it's gonna kind of crinkle or disrupt the vellum fibers and turn it white, where the vellum has a little bit of that translucent clear look. So it's just really fantastic. I love it. But as I was saying, I like to kind of spread everything out, see everything. The ephemera pack, both the sentiment and the focal images have two of each design. So if you need to kind of combine multiples, or you want to make multiples, let's say to sell, or you want to make little card sets, to gift, you have that option, because you'll find in each of the pieces there's going to be two that are identical. And the ephemera is really great. There's a really nice sort of collection of things that are great for scene building. Like there's a lovely fireplace, there are some houses, gingerbread houses and whatnot. There are wonderful items for collaging, like the bell and the mailbox and things like that. And then you can even create some floral sprays, because there are some really lovely floral and greenery, like foliage and flower ephemeras die cut. So really, really fun. A really, really nice collection. And this collection, I feel, is pretty cool in the sense that you almost have two different colorways, but somehow they've made it work to where you can actually combine the two, and they look good together, but you can almost separate the two and really create very different looks. So what I mean by that is you have one set of, and this is probably the more dominant set of ephemera pattern papers that are very traditional Christmas. Your reds, your greens, mixed with sort of that tannish, craft color, and of course gold and some pinks in there too, just for something that's a little bit more modern. So a little bit of that traditional, a little bit of the modern as well. But then there's a lot of blues. So you'll see a more blue colorway it's more of a gray blue, almost like a Payne's gray, And so there's a little bit of crossover with some pinks, and the blue is also, it's almost a purpley blue too, so I think that's why it kind of works with the pinks and the reds as well. But you'll see as I go as I continue to make cards, I've chosen some that are very much in one colorway, and then some cards will be very much in the other colorway. And it's amazing to see them all together. You may not think, or it may not be obvious, it's all from the same collection, and it all works so beautifully. And so that's why it's so great to kind of get a collection like this, because the versatility is fantastic, and a lot of these can be used outside of the holiday season as well. And so last thing I want to mention is that I just crossed over the 2,500 subscriber mark. I want to thank everybody who has helped me get to this point. Whether you're a subscriber or not, by watching my videos, you've helped me to get to this point, because YouTube values basically, any kind of interaction with videos, and that can be watching the videos, liking the videos, sharing them, leaving a comment. All of those things help tremendously, maybe more so than even subscribing to my channel. And so I value you for watching. And what I want to do is later on this month, I'm going to have a giveaway where I have 3 bundles of crafty goodness to give away. But what I want to offer is, in this video, I'd like for this to be a hidden giveaway entry into that future giveaway. So this is just my way of thanking you for watching my videos, whether this is the very first video and you've just, discovered my channel, or you regularly watch my videos. I want to thank you by giving you extra opportunities to enter into my giveaway later this month. And mostly that's because you're here just because you found this content interesting, and you're still watching at this point because you're still interested. And for that, I thank you. I don't mind when I get new viewers to my videos and my channels that are more because they see giveaway in the title of the video. That's great, and I hope that they'll stay. But you're here because of a genuine interest, and I want to show my appreciation to you by giving you some extra opportunities to enter into my giveaway. So if you'd like to be in for a chance to win one of 3 bundles, leave me a comment on this video and just let me know which card is your favorite card. You can fast forward to the end. Like I said, the video is timestamped, so feel free to just skip ahead if you don't have time to watch the entire process. And just let me know which card you like the best out of the 17 that I created. And if you don't have time for that, you can also optionally just let me know if you've ever participated in Kendra's card challenge. So just leave me a comment, answer one of those questions, and I will know that that means you've watched to this point and that you would like to enter into my giveaway. Please don't mention in your comment that it is that this is a hidden giveaway. I want it to be hidden because I want it to be a sincere thank you from me to viewers who are watching out of genuine interest. And so I'd rather that anyone who enters or comments has heard me say this. as opposed to maybe reading other comments that have already been posted. So mum's the word on this being a hidden giveaway, please. And just all you have to do is comment on this video, whether you've ever done Kendra's card challenge, or if you watch to the end, just let me know what your favorite card is that I've made here today. My giveaway 2500 subscriber giveaway video will go live later this month. I just finished recording it, and it will be clearly marked giveaway video. So if you're on my channel regularly, you'll know, you'll be able to know. It won't be any sort of hidden type of giveaway. So that will be a proper giveaway video. It'll have giveaway in the title. It'll have 2500 subscriber celebration or something to that effect. So you'll know in that video what the prize bundles are. I'm giving away one of 3. And you'll also have an additional opportunity to enter when you comment on that video. So that's the last thing I want to mention. What I'll do is set the rest of this video to some music so you can just sit back, watch, and enjoy. And I won't rejoin at the end with a voiceover, so I'll say my goodbyes now. Thank you so much for helping me get to 2500 subscribers here on YouTube. Thank you for watching this video to this point. I appreciate you, and until next time, happy crafting and have a fantastic day. Bye.